Ladies and gentlemen, one thing I've learned over the years is that men sometimes need space. They're not ignoring you because they don't care. Sometimes they're just figuring themselves out. And when a man feels that he can take days without talking to you, your first instinct might be to text him 100 times, check his social media, or question yourself. Don't do it. Instead, respect that space. Let him breathe. Let him miss you. Let him feel that absence. But here's the key. You don't just sit there like a sad statue. You stay magnetic. You live your life full, happy and thriving. You post your wins, you laugh loud, you live with confidence. Because when a man sees that you are flourishing without him, it sparks something deep in him. It makes him curious. It makes him want to reach out. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something about respect and space in relationships, because a lot of people don't understand this. And it's costing them a whole lot of love, a whole lot of peace, and a whole lot of sanity. Now, I know some of you out there have had a man who can go days without talking to you. Days. And when I say days, I mean a little time goes by and you're wondering, did he forget me? Did I do something wrong? Does he even care? Let me be honest with you, men, for reasons that sometimes don't make sense to us, handle things differently. Sometimes they need space, and that's not a bad thing. That's not a lack of love. That's not a reason to start texting him 37 times a day or stalking his social media like it's a full-time job. No, ladies, the moment you start doing that, you give away your power. You hand him the control of your happiness on a silver platter. And that's not how this works. You see, respect for his space doesn't mean you ignore him. It doesn't mean you play mind games. It means you recognize that he's human. He's trying to figure things out, maybe with his own feelings, maybe with his own life, maybe with the stress that nobody ever talks about. Men don't always verbalize what's going on inside their heads. Some of them process in silence. And that silence, it's not always a reflection of you. But if you panic when he goes quiet, if you start chasing him, you're saying to him without words, I'm dependent on your attention for my happiness. And let me tell you something, that is the fastest way to make him drift further away. You see, men are drawn to women who are whole. Women who have their own life, their own joy, their own magnetic energy. That's what makes a man want to come back. So if he's gone a few days without talking, the first thing you need to do is breathe. Take a step back and remind yourself who you are. You are not defined by how often he reaches out. You are defined by your self-respect, your confidence, and your happiness. And when you operate from that place, magic happens. That man who thought he could take days without checking in, he starts noticing your absence. He starts realizing, whoa, she's living her life without me. And I kind of like that. He starts wondering, is she okay? What's she up to? That curiosity builds a pull, a magnetic force that words alone cannot create. You've just made yourself interesting again. You've made yourself irresistible without saying a single word. Now, staying magnetic doesn't mean you act cold or mean. It doesn't mean you ignore him on purpose to make him jealous. That's petty, and he will see right through it. What I'm talking about is genuine energy, the kind of energy that comes from living your life fully. You wake up in the morning and you take care of yourself. You go out and do things that make your soul happy. You laugh loud. You move with confidence. You nurture your friends, your family, and your own dreams. You post pictures of yourself doing things you love, not for him, but because you are proud of your life. When a man sees that, he cannot help but pay attention. That energy, that life, that confidence it calls to him. It whispers to him in a way that no words ever could. And here's another truth. When a man notices that you are magnetic, he respects your boundaries. He sees that your time is valuable. He sees that your love is not free to be taken for granted. And when he sees that, he starts to think, I need to reach out. I need to reconnect. I need to be a part of this amazing life. Because men, as much as they sometimes act like they don't care, are drawn to women who know their worth. They are drawn to women who are strong, women who respect themselves, women who respect their time and energy. You don't have to text him 100 times to remind him you exist. You don't have to chase him down the street. You just have to be magnetic, and he will find his way back to you. Let me tell you one more thing, because this is important. Respecting his space while staying magnetic also protects your heart. When you chase someone who isn't reciprocating, you're giving away your peace. You're giving away your joy. You're putting your happiness in someone else's hands. That's dangerous. That's a recipe for disappointment, for hurt, for stress. But when you respect his space, you are protecting yourself. You are showing him that your life doesn't revolve around his attention. And when you do that consistently, when you show that you are whole and complete without needing him to fill a void, he starts to value you in ways he never did before. That magnetic energy, that self-respect, that's the key that opens the door to genuine interest. That's the key that makes a man who could go days without talking to you suddenly feel compelled to reach out because he wants to be a part of the life you're creating. Ladies and gentlemen, the lesson here is simple but powerful. Respect his space, yes. But don't ever mistake respect for passivity. Don't sit around waiting for a man to remember you. Instead, live, flourish, glow. Let your life speak louder than any words you could text. Be magnetic. Be irresistible. Be unapologetically yourself. And watch how a man who once thought he could go days with you, tea-talking, now finds his way back to you, drawn by the power of your energy, the strength of your confidence, and the irresistible force of a woman who knows her worth. That, my friends, is how you turn silence into connection, absence into desire, and respect into irresistible magnetic energy. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something about emotional anticipation, because this right here is one of the most powerful tools you can use in love and relationships. Now, I know some of y'all out there are thinking, Steve, emotional anticipation, what does that even mean? Well, let me break it down for you. Emotional anticipation is that feeling you give a man that makes him think about you when you're not around. It's that little spark that keeps him wondering, keeps him curious, keeps him drawn to you without you having to chase him or beg him or explain yourself. And I'll tell you, if a man can go days without talking to you, create that anticipation is exactly what's going to make him reach out. It's going to make him come back into your orbit, not out of obligation, but out of desire. Now, emotional anticipation isn't about playing games. Don't get that twisted. I know some women think it's about being mysterious, being cold, or hiding your feelings. No. Emotional anticipation is about respect, self-worth, and a little finesse in how you carry yourself. It's about letting him feel the absence of your energy, your joy, your presence in a way that makes him realize, man, I miss her. I need to connect with her. And that, ladies, is where the magic happens. Men are wired to respond to challenge, to something they can't fully understand, to something they feel like they might be missing out on. When you create emotional anticipation, you're not manipulating him. You're showing him that you have depth, that you have life, that you're not just sitting around waiting for his attention. Let me give you an example. Say he hasn't texted you in 2, 3, even 4 days. Now, instead of panicking, you do something for yourself. You go out with friends, you laugh loud, you post something about your passion, your hobby, your success, something that shows your life is vibrant, full, and exciting. And here's the key, don't do it for him. Do it for you. Do it because you love yourself and your life. But what happens when you do this consistently is that he starts to notice. He starts to feel that little tug in his chest. He starts to wonder, what is she doing? Why is she glowing? Why is she so happy without me? And that wondering, that curiosity, that is exactly what builds emotional anticipation. That's what makes him want to reach out, because he's not trying to control you. He's drawn to you. He's pulled by that energy you're giving off. Now, emotional anticipation also comes from how you communicate when you do speak. If he reaches out after a few days, don't be so predictable that he already knows your every reaction. Keep a little spark. Keep a little unpredictability. Maybe you're enthusiastic, maybe you're playful, maybe you keep a little humor in the conversation. Don't spill all your feelings right away. Don't make yourself completely available every single time, because when a man can predict your every move, when he feels like there's nothing new to discover, he loses interest. But when you are a little dynamic, a little intriguing, a little unpredictable in your energy, he starts paying attention. He starts looking forward to that next interaction, because it feels good, feels fresh, it feels like something he wants to be part of. And here's something else people don't often realize. Emotional anticipation works best when it's subtle. You don't need to post cryptic messages or make him feel jealous on purpose. That's childish, and men can see through it. Emotional anticipation is quiet. It's graceful. It's about living your life fully while allowing him to feel your presence even when you're not directly interacting with him. It's in the little things. Maybe he remembers you from a place you went together. Maybe he hears your laugh in a video you shared. Maybe he sees your success or joy in a post or a story. That's anticipation, because it makes him think of you. It makes him feel your energy, your personality, your value. And when a man feels that, he can't resist. He wants to reach out. He wants to reconnect. He wants to be part of that life he sees. Ladies, emotional anticipation is also about rester. Ain't. It's about knowing when to engage and when to let things breathe. If he hasn't reached out, it's tempting to fill the silence with messages, calls, or social media comments. Don't do it. Every time you chase after him, you diminish the anticipation. Every time you make yourself too available, you reduce the sense of mystery and desire. But when you hold back just enough, when you give him space to feel what he's missing, when you let him come to you because he wants to, not because you begged him, you create emotional anticipation that is magnetic, irresistible, and genuine. And here's the beauty of emotional anticipation. It works in your favor in ways you don't even realize. When he reaches out after a period of silence, it's not just a text or a phone call, it's a recognition. It's him acknowledging your value, your energy, and your worth. And that acknowledgement is something he feels deeply, not just intellectually. Emotional anticipation taps into feelings, not logic. It triggers a sense of desire, curiosity, and attraction that words alone can never achieve. That's why this works every single time when done right. So remember this, ladies, emotional anticipation isn't manipulation. It's about showing up as a whole, vibrant, magnetic person. It's about letting him feel your energy even in your absence. It's about creating a pull that is natural, authentic, and irresistible. When you master this, the man who can go days without talking to you suddenly starts reaching out because he wants to. He wants to reconnect. He wants to be part of the life you are living, the energy you are radiating, the joy and confidence you are embodying. Emotional anticipation is the subtle art of making someone feel your presence even when you are not there. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the most powerful tools in love. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something about confidence, because confidence is one of those things that people talk about, but very few truly understand how powerful it is in relationships. Now, I know some of you out there are thinking, Steve, confidence, that's just about being bold or talking loud. No, no, no. Confidence is much deeper than that. Confidence is knowing who you are, knowing your worth, and walking through life with the kind of self-assured energy that doesn't beg, doesn't plead, and doesn't apologize for existing. And when it comes to love, when it comes to a man who can go days without talking to you, confidence is the single most magnetic quality you can have. Confidence is what will make him reach out, not because you chased him, not because you begged, not because you pleaded, but because he sees the fullness of your life and he wants to be a part of it. See, too many people, especially women, make the mistake of equating silence or distance with rejection or failure. They think, if he's not calling me, if he's not texting me, if he's gone days without talking, then something is wrong with me. Let me stop you right there. That's not confidence. That's insecurity. And insecurity will push him further away. When you start overthinking, overanalyzing, or trying to manipulate his feelings, you give away your power. You let him take control of your happiness. And let me tell you something, that's not how a confident person operates. A confident person knows that their value is not dictated by someone else's attention. A confident person knows that they are whole, complete, and worthy of love regardless of someone's behavior. And when a man senses that kind of confidence, he cannot resist it. It pulls him in like a magnet. Confidence speaks louder than words because it's visible in everything you do. It's in the way you carry yourself when you walk into a room. It's in the way you laugh, the way you talk, the way you handle yourself when things don't go your way. You see, men are wired to notice energy. They might not always articulate it, but they feel it. And when a man feels a woman's confidence, he feels a sense of admiration, respect, and attraction all at once. Confidence says, without saying a word, I am worthy, I am whole. I am not defined by your attention, but your attention is a privilege if you choose to give it. And when a man hears that energy, when he sees that aura, it sparks something inside him. Suddenly the distance that he thought he could maintain doesn't feel so comfortable anymore. Suddenly he starts thinking about you, wondering about you, and wanting to reach out to you. Confidence is also about boundaries. A confident woman does not tolerate behavior that diminishes her self-worth. She does not chase someone who is indifferent. She does not beg for attention that is not freely given. Instead, she sets clear boundaries about what is acceptable and what is not, and she honors those boundaries without guilt or apology. And when a man sees that, it creates desire. It makes him value you more because he knows that you are not just another option, that your time, energy, and love are precious, and that he has to step up if he wants to be part of your life. Confidence creates standards, and standards create respect. Respect creates attraction, and attraction is what makes him reach out after he's been distant. Another key part of confidence is self-reliance. A confident woman does not make her happiness dependent on a man's presence. She has her own life, her own goals, her own passions, and her own joy. She wakes up every day focused on becoming the best version of herself, not waiting around for someone to validate her worth. And when a man sees that, he is drawn to it. He sees a woman who is thriving, a woman who is radiant, a woman who is whole, and he wants to be part of that. He wants to connect because he senses the strength in her, the independence, the vitality, and the magnetic energy she exudes. A man who goes days without talking may feel indifferent at first, but confidence changes the game. Confidence shifts the dynamic. It turns absence into anticipation, distance into desire, and silence into curiosity. Confidence is also about authenticity. It's about being unapologetically yourself, even when it's uncomfortable. It's about expressing your feelings, your opinions, your desires, and your individuality without fear of judgment or rejection. A man may be quiet for a few days, but when he senses that you are authentic, genuine, and self-assured, he cannot help but respect and admire you. Authenticity paired with confidence is irresistible because it signals that you are not playing games, that you are not pretending that you are real, and that your energy is pure. That purity, that honesty, that confidence, men feel it. They notice it, and it calls them to engage, to reach out, to reconnect. Lastly, confidence is consistent. It's not just a one-time act of showing him that you are self-assured. It's a lifestyle. It's how you carry yourself every day, in every situation, in every interaction. It's in how you handle challenges, how you celebrate successes, and how you respond to distance or silence. Men are drawn to women who consistently radiate confidence because it reassures them that this is not temporary, this is not fake, this is the real deal. And when that confidence is consistent, even a man who could go days without talking to you will find himself reaching out, not out of desperation, but out of genuine desire, curiosity, and admiration. Ladies and gentlemen, confidence is not just a trait, it's a superpower. It transforms silence into intrigue, distance into longing, and absence into magnetic pull. When you embrace your worth, live unapologetically, and carry yourself with self-assurance, you become irresistible. And that man who thought he could go days without talking to you suddenly finds himself compelled to reach out because he recognizes your power, your energy, and the undeniable force of a woman who knows her worth and walks in it every single day. Confidence speaks louder than words, and trust me, it is louder than silence too. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something about timing, because timing in love is everything, and most people don't understand it. They see a man who can go days without talking and immediately assume that something is wrong, that they have to force the connection, that they have to chase him down, beg him, or make themselves too available. And that right there is a trap. Timing is not something you control. Timing is something you respect. Timing is something you leverage. And when you learn to do that, you'll notice something amazing. The man who went days without talking suddenly reaches out, not because you begged, not because you chased, but because the universe, life, and your own energy have aligned in a way that made him see your value and want to be part of your life. See, here's the thing. When a man goes silent, a lot of women panic. They start analyzing every little detail. Try to figure out what they said wrong, what they did wrong, or how to fix the situation. But the truth is, sometimes he's silent because he's not ready. Sometimes he's silent because he's dealing with his own life. And sometimes he's silent because he needs to realize what he's missing. And if you interfere too much, if you push too hard, you ruin the opportunity. Timing is about letting the natural flow of life do its work while you remain fully engaged in your own. It's about being patient, being confident, and trusting that the right moment will arrive. And when it does, the man who could go days without talking will reach out because it's authentic, because it's real, and because he genuinely wants to connect with you. Timing works in your favor when you focus on yourself during the silence. That's right. When he's quiet, you're loud with your own life. You wake up every day with purpose. You pursue your dreams. You spend time with friends and family. You laugh. You grow. You shine. And here's the magic. A man notices that. He notices the way you carry yourself, the way your energy radiates, the way your life doesn't stop just because he's quiet. And that noticing triggers something inside him. It makes him reflect on his own choices. It makes him think about what he might be missing. And it makes him want to reach out. Timing works in your favor when you allow the silence to create space for reflection for both of you. When he feels your absence and sees your presence eye. And everything you do, it becomes undeniable. Another thing about timing is understanding that you cannot force someone's feelings. You can't make someone feel something they're not ready to feel. And when you try, it comes across as desperation, insecurity, or neediness. But when you let timing work naturally, you create an environment where his feelings can develop organically. You let the distance breathe. You let the space create longing. And you let life's natural rhythm do the work. And here's the beautiful part. When he finally reaches out after a period of silence, it's genuine. It's coming from a place of desire, not obligation. It's coming from a place where he's had time to reflect, to recognize your worth, and to decide that he wants to be part of your life. Timing makes the difference between a connection that is forced and one that is authentic. And authentic connections are always magnetic. Timing also works in your favor when you respect your own pace. Don't rush back to him the moment he reaches out. Don't immediately drop everything to make yourself available. Let him earn your attention. Let him recognize the value of your time, your energy, and your presence. Because when timing is respected, he understands that connection is not automatic, that love is not given away for free, and that your heart is not up for grabs. That respect for timing builds desire. It builds anticipation. And it builds the kind of attraction that makes him want to reach out over and over again, not because he feels guilty, but because he genuinely wants to be part of your life. Ladies, the beauty of letting timing work in your favor is that it takes the pressure off of you. You don't have to manipulate. You don't have to stress. You don't have to overthink. You simply live your life. You stay true to yourself. And you allow the natural rhythm of life and love to unfold. And the amazing thing is, men can feel that energy. Men can feel when you're aligned with your purpose, when you're confident, when you're thriving. And when they feel that, even a man who thought he could go days without talking suddenly wants to connect because he senses that this is someone special, someone worth his time, someone worth his effort. Timing works in your favor because it allows you to be whole and patient while letting him come to the realization of what you mean to him. Finally, let me tell you about patience. Because patience is the secret ingredient in timing. Patience is not about sitting and waiting. Patience is about trusting the process, trusting yourself, and trusting that life has a way of bringing people to you when the moment is right. When a man reaches out after days of silence, it's not random. It's not coincidence. It's timing. It's life aligning with the energy you've created. And when that happens, you can respond from a place of power, confidence, and self-respect, knowing that this connection is genuine, authentic, and meaningful. Timing, ladies and gentlemen, is not just about waiting. It's about aligning your energy, your actions, and your life so that the right people come to you at the right moment. So remember, when a man goes dead without talking, don't panic, don't chase, and don't overanalyze. Trust the timing. Focus on yourself. Shine brightly. Respect your own pace. And let life's natural rhythm work its magic. When you do this, the man who once seemed distant will reach out, not because he has to, but because he wants to. He will reach out not because you begged, not because you chased, but because timing has aligned, energy has manifested, and attraction has been created in the most authentic, magnetic, and irresistible way.